Last year, it came down to a final ball on the rim in the season finale, and Indiana was the Big Ten champion. This year, no one can take the crown from Michigan, but the 2014 Big Ten champions want revenge now. Welcome to the final regular season Big Ten Saturday here on ESPN. ESPN College Basketball brings us to the Chrysler Center. Number 12, Michigan, hosting Indiana. If the Big Ten tournament were to begin today, no one can catch Michigan. They're the outright league champion and the number 1 seed no matter what happens. Right in the middle of the pack, though, Indiana, as things stand now, but a lot of basketball to be played this evening and tomorrow. Hi again, everyone. I'm Bob Shoes, and here with Dan Dockich. Thanks so much for spending part of your weekend with us. No one can catch Michigan. For the first time since 1986, they are the outright champions of the Big Ten. Can you put their season into some type of perspective?
No, they lost Mitch McGary this year. Going back a year, Tim Hardaway playing pretty well in the NBA. Trey Burke playing pretty well. You think of all they've lost, but boy, have guys stepped up. And John Beilein has been doing this since West Virginia. This is his best coaching job here at Michigan. He is the Big Ten's coach of the year. Been a lot of great players at Michigan from '86 to right now. None of them have been able to get an outright championship. Says something about the leadership of this team.
Talking about great players, they have a great player that has had a great year. We take a look at our one-on-one at Nick Stauskas.
Nick Stauskas made a goal after his work in the summer being the Big Ten player of the year. Guess what? He is the Big Ten player of the year. Made a goal of averaging between 15 and 20. Guess what? He did that. He has been phenomenal, particularly here late. In the game clincher against Illinois, he knocks out 7 threes, leads them to an easy victory.
On the bench to start the game, Noah Vonleh. He's missed the last 2 games with an injured left foot. We were told in no uncertain terms by Tom Crean at their shoot-around that he would play in this game, but he's not in the starting lineup. Again, it's Devin Davis, the freshman, that will start up front with Will Sheehy and Troy Williams, and Yogi Ferrell, 4th in the league in scoring at the point guard spot. And for Michigan, not only is Nick Stauskas red hot, but Glenn Robinson the third as well. Dan, he has scored in double figures in 5 in a row, 21 times this season. He has helped overcome the loss of Mitch McGary.
Big time. I mean, he's been better late as well, just like Stauskas. When you see Glenn Robinson being aggressive, like he wasn't right there on the tip, then you know he's going to have a pretty good game, and it starts early for him.
Yogi Ferrell was unconscious when these teams met in Bloomington. An Indiana win back on February 2nd. And here's Yogi Ferrell to start the game. And Sheehy will try a 3. And Indiana's on the board first.
Well, Will Sheehy has been red hot of late, playing like a senior should down the stretch. He just lifted right up Glenn Robinson. Robinson's hands were down. You do that against Sheehy right now, he's going to make it.
Position down low for the senior, Jordan Morgan.
That was so good by LeVert. Morgan had Ferrell on his hip. As soon as LeVert got it, he recognized, went down to him.
We'll show you a little bit of it later as LeVert gets the tip. But Jordan Morgan had senior day all to himself.
Jordan Morgan, in my opinion now, when you win a league, you get honors. I think he's the defensive player of the year in the Big Ten, and I think he's the leader of the year in the Big Ten. He literally, once McGary went down, got this team together, helped the coaching staff, showed unbelievable leadership and love for the Michigan program, led him to a championship. He just made a great play on the first possession of taking away Yogi Ferrell, who had a layup.
Stanford Robinson on the drive, hit the underside of the rim, but draws the foul. Well, John Beilein's team, as we said, Big Ten champions. How important, though, is this game for them today?
Well, I think it's important because Indiana has beaten this group 3 times in a row. John Beilein, any game you coach, you want to play well in going into the Big Ten tournament. So I think it's a really important game. Standings, no. Seeding for the NCAA tournament, absolutely.
Will Sheehy's trying to walk off an injury on that last collision. The foul was called against Karis LeVert. So it'll be Stanford Robinson, only a 55% free throw shooter at the line, as an NIT chant goes up from the crowd here at Chrysler for Indiana. Let's take a look at Sheehy, right side of the screen. He just gets bowled over.
What happens when you stand around the pile? No, that's football. I'm sorry.
And NIT might be where the Hoosiers end up. That loss against Nebraska on Wednesday really was a killer.
Yeah, and really no excuse for it. I mean, if you're playing to get in the NCAA tournament, you got to win games, and particularly games against teams that are good. But I don't think anybody's going to tell you Nebraska's a great team, and you're playing them at home. That's a game you just absolutely have to win to deserve to play in the NIT or the NCAA.
Another bucket inside for Jordan Morgan.
Indiana switching everything. That time Robinson got caught on Morgan. Michigan smart enough to figure it out.
Tough shot in traffic, banked home by Troy Williams. Stauskas for three. Another offensive rebound for Morgan. And he kicks it back out for a reset. Robinson, top of the key. That's no good. Morgan there on the offensive glass. He's got another bucket. Indiana 7, Jordan Morgan 6. Sheehy on a curl, stripped away by Derek Walton. Walton lobs it. Morgan, tough catch under the bucket. Creates some space, draws a foul. That'll go against Sheehy.
Morgan is just beasting Indiana inside. I mean, watch him fight right here. Sheehy's trying. He's trying, but not strong enough. And Morgan taking his time and using terrific footwork. Early in this game, Michigan's been smart. Go to Morgan, and Morgan's been smart. Attack the backboard. Smart right there not to shoot. There's a reason you're open.
We'll see when Tom Crean, if at some point goes to Noah Vonleh. Stauskas with a fake to the corner, hits a triple. Michigan's first lead.
When you're hot, you're hot. When you're not, you're not. But
whoa, throwing it down. Troy Williams plus the foul and a little stare at the senior Jordan Morgan.
Oh, man.
Troy Williams put Morgan on a poster and then let him know about it.
Great feed by Yogi Ferrell, and here comes Troy Williams to the rim. And man, referee said Morgan had a heel inside the arc. Wow.
Stanford Robinson off the carom keeps it alive. Sheehy wide open for three, passed it up. Yogi Ferrell lost it on the way out. Scramble for the loose ball as Yogi Ferrell just lost the handle. Now he'll try again. And he hits. He had 7 threes when Indiana won back on February 2nd.
Hey, now that's confidence by Yogi Ferrell. He went up, lost the ball, it slips out of his hands. You might think, all right, let me. No. Next time he gets it, he just lifts up and drains it.
Good hands by Yogi Ferrell. 3-point lead for Indiana. It is senior day at Michigan, and it was a day for the fans here at Chrysler to honor Jordan Morgan.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Hyundai. New thinking, new possibilities. And new one-a-day Vita Craves Plus Fiber.
And I talked to Roy Williams about this game, and you know, he said if Duke makes over 33% of their threes, we're in real trouble. And that's almost every game with Duke. They guard, okay, they're not big, they are big, whatever you want to say. But making threes is the difference for Duke, win or lose.
Glenn Robinson to the line to shoot 2. And because of that, because they so much live and die by the 3, what chances do you give them to make the run and mark?
I give them a great chance because they're used to it. There's expectations on it. They're certainly not going to be afraid of anybody. There's no environment that's going to get them. There's no scheme that's going to get them. So I give them a great chance. But, and as we have seen, I'm telling you, Glenn Robinson really slowly snaps into his shot. That's why he's short all the time, but I digress. Duke, to me, will make a run. Now, what does that mean? I would say they'd be in there in the second weekend. Maybe an Elite Eight. I don't know if they can win a national championship that way, but I would say they would have a real shot to make a decent run.
Do you see parallels between Duke and Michigan?
A little bit. A little bit. I mean, you know, there's not great throwing the ball inside, although, you know, Michigan will give you 10 and 10 from Horford and Jordan Moore. But, man, you're right. Both teams rely on the jumper.
Nice finish by Yogi Ferrell. And when you think about the 10 and 10 that Jordan Morgan and John Horford give you, that's basically what Duke looks to Jabari Parker for. I mean, he's become their main rebounder.
Well, you know, it's even more from when you just take Michigan. It's more than what McGarry was giving them. Now, maybe McGarry would give them more, you know, if he played a whole season, but it's more than he was giving them.
Horford sets up Walton. Yogi Ferrell comes the other way. Indiana hasn't missed yet. They're 5 for 5 from the field.
Indiana has a really good mindset in this game, and that is to drive the ball, drive the ball, drive the ball. A little baseline action here with Ferrell, but everything is going to be off the drive.
A shovel off underneath, and the reverse goes for Devin Davis. Nice pass from Stanford Robinson, and there's Noah Vonleh at the scores table ready to come on for the first time.
They don't need him right now. Indiana's playing great. They just ran a little baseline 3-man game. Gave room to the top of the key, or gave room to the 2 guys on top. Found Davis, laid it in. Hey, Indiana looks great in this game.
Crossover by Robinson. No call with a lot of contact. And here comes Sheehy the other way. It's a 7-1 Indiana run. Sheehy on the lob. Finishes behind the defense off the Yogi Ferrell pass. It's a 9-1 run, and IU's largest lead.
Sheehy just went up and over Zach Irvin. Zach Irvin read the play. He was right there. But Sheehy, on an absolute pinpoint pass from Yogi Ferrell, just lifted up and got it done.
Stauskas drives. Nifty little flip won't go. Horford, offensive rebound, in traffic, puts it back up and in. Maybe that's why Noah Vonleh needs to get in the game.
Yes, you're right. Noah Vonleh does now need to get in the game, but Indiana get that shore up. They're going to be in business here.
Sheehy gets the roll, and Indiana stays perfect from the field. 8 for 8.
Shots right in the lane. Not settling. Shot right in the lane. Drive it to the lane. Keep driving, Michigan. Pretty good game play. Michigan looks slow to me.
Walton for 3. In and out. Yogi Ferrell. Deep pass again. Another alley-oop finish. That one was 3/4 court to Troy Williams. And John Beilein does not like what he's seeing. We'll step aside for 30 seconds and come right back to Chrysler. Indiana alley-ooping their way to a 10-point lead. Bob Wischusen and Dan Dockich watching an aerial display.
Nothing better than a point guard that has his head up in transition. Look at Zach Irvin's right there. But the pass was perfect. The jump was timed well. Look at this here. Irvin reads it, just not quite high enough. Great play by Ferrell and Sheehy. And then here, nobody gets as deep as Troy Williams. And Williams, that's a second athletic over the rim play, and a second pass by Yogi Ferrell. Terrific action by Indiana early. Absolutely playing faster and harder than Michigan to this point.
7 of the 9 IU field goals have come in the paint.
It's great game plan. Just keep driving. This is what Indiana did to Wisconsin to beat. Now, when they beat Michigan the first time, Yogi Ferrell hit 7 threes. 5 of them were at shot clock buzzer type of things. But still, this is much better game plan, much better look for Indiana.
Spike Albrecht finds a cutter in Robinson.
Boy, was that good by Robinson. Spike Albrecht channeled his inner Steve Nash, dribbled the baseline, and Robinson just came right to the ball, and Albrecht found it.
Vonleh to the wing. Sheehy just a little too strong. The first miss for Indiana from the field. Robinson with a shot fake. Cross court, Irvin for three. He's got it.
There is not a team in America that drives the left side and when stuck finds the right wing better or clearer than Michigan. They work on it, and nobody does it better.
What's specific about driving the left side looking right as opposed to driving right and looking left?
I don't know. It's just where Michigan sets it up. It's just the way their action goes about it. Guy will get in the corner, and usually he's in the left corner. Nice good defense there.
Vonleh, tough fadeaway. And he banks it home. You can't do much more if you're John Horford.
Oh, wow. What a shot by Vonleh. You're right, Horford was great. What are you going to do?
Robinson spots up. That's good.
Now, I'm telling you, all I watched was Glenn Robinson's snap. And he snapped the wrist right there, carried it over the front of it. All you got to do is watch the snap, tell whether it goes in or out.
Yogi Ferrell crosses over, throws up a wild one, but he got Spike Albrecht to commit the foul.
Drive the left side, find the shooter out on the right wing. This is after the pass, and Zach Irvin's automatic. You give him that kind of room. And then John Horford did a great job playing defense. Look at this, pivot, pivot, pivot. You haven't played 2 games, but you're still good enough to make.
% from the field. And it's time to cut to a different shot. ESPN's Journey to the Tourney features an ACC showdown when Marcus Page and the Heels meet Jabari Parker and the Blue Devils. Our Journey to the Tourney presented by Sonic, North Carolina Duke. Tonight at 9 on ESPN, also live on Watch ESPN. And boy, talk about a polarizing resume for North Carolina, 14th in the country. Look at the wins and then toss in a loss against Belmont to UAB. They have had a wide range of success and then failure this season.
You know, Belmont's playing for conference title as they went right into Sheehy. Nice inbounds play by Tom Crane. Sheehy gets the bucket. Belmont's pretty good, but that's just dumb scheduling. You just don't schedule Belmont.
Well, don't schedule Belmont if you can somehow predict you're going to miss like 35 free throws against them that night. Well, Robinson attacks, in and out, and Horford kept it alive but couldn't save it. If Indiana were to win this game, it would be their 5th win against a top 25 opponent this season. All of those wins would be in the Big Ten. They play basically no one in the non-conference schedule. I guess they probably still have to run their way through the Big Ten tournament to have a chance.
That's what all the experts say. You know, this would be the first one on the road. You know, all their wins have come at home. Their non-conference schedule was beyond ridiculous. It was 215 in the country.
Irvin for 3. Long rebound. It's Sheehy that has it.
I just love the way Sheehy is playing here late in the year. Just total confidence, a little desperation. See, that's what kills Indiana. 17 dribbles in one spot. Instead of just, when he got the ball, Farrell, all you do is throw it into the post guy.
Shot clock down to 7. Sheehy spots up. And Horford has the rebound.
No penetration that time. And again, Farrell made it difficult. He showed great dribbling skills. But the idea is get it to the big guy once in a while.
LeVert, wild shot with the left hand and a bad one, but a foul call. Horford goes down. Fouled by Yogi Ferrell.
Yogi Ferrell just got underneath him a little bit. You're doing what you're taught. Get your rear end into the thighs of a bigger player. Just the timing of it was kind of wrong. I don't blame Yogi for asking Terry Weimer, you know, what happened there, because I didn't think he did anything wrong.
Well, taking a look at the replay, was that not just a solid box out?
I thought
His opponent lost the balance.
Did you think so?
It looked like.
Yeah,
you're Yogi Ferrell. How else are you supposed to box out?
I agree. I thought he did it very well. I thought he did it textbook.
He is 6 foot tall, trying to box out a guy that's 6'10".
Which isn't necessarily, you know, if you foul, you foul,
right,
regardless. But still, I agree with you. It was just it was actually a textbook.
Stauskas on the drive with the left hand. It won't go. Another offensive rebound from Morgan. He's got another.
Stauskas made a great play. Patient, went to the rim, didn't get the make. Morgan there to clean it up.
Foul called against Michigan on the drive. It goes against Glenn Robinson.
Middle of the zone is not easy. Stauskas misses, and you see nobody rotates to put a body. And look at Morgan's patience. Young kids, just because you get it doesn't mean you have to fire it up. Take your time. You've got the ball in a dominating position 5 feet from the bucket. Take your time. Make the basket on, make the shot on your terms. Good cut.
Evan Gordon couldn't finish.
Yeah, I mean, Bob, so many kids get so excited. They get a rebound and they got to jack it back up.
LeVert, a little bit of a rush. That hit the backboard first. Here comes Yogi Ferrell. End to end again. Vonleh for three. Barely draws iron.
See, those last two possessions, totally different than Indiana started out. The ball started with a dribble, not a pass, and it continued with dribbles, not people or ball movement. Just tough to run offense when you're over dribbling.
Good read by Yogi Ferrell. He and Vonleh go to the bench. Also sitting down, Jeff Howard. Devin Davis comes back on. And it looks like now it'll be Troy Williams into the game and not Austin Etherington.
Now, if you're Michigan, you really pick up the heat. Not really a ball handler out there. Stan Robinson can drive it, but Evan Gordon is not a point guard. Pick up the heat and really go at him defensively.
2-3 zone now for IU. Good hands by Evan Gordon. Almost knocked it away from LeVert, but then commits the foul. We'll step aside. Under 8 minutes to go in the first half. Indiana has led most of the way. Indiana has led most of the way. They have a 5-point lead as we speak here at Chrysler, and it's a full day of conference championships in women's hoops tomorrow on ESPN. We begin at 1 with the Big Ten title game, and then at 3:30 the SEC championship will tip off. Then a nighttime doubleheader, the ACC championship at 7 and the Pac-12 championship game at 9. Championship week has arrived, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, and it begins tomorrow at 1 on ESPN. Bob Wischusen and Dan Dockich here in Ann Arbor. You know, some disturbing trends if you're Michigan. You think about what you thought their March hopes might be, how well they shoot the three. They're #1 in the Big Ten, shooting the three, #3 in points scored. They're also last in opponents' field goal percentage.
Well,
here's Stauskas from the wing. That's short.
Yeah, they do give up, but they also, there's not as many possessions in a Michigan game, and they don't foul. And there's two things that John Beilein will not accept, and it costs the other team in terms of total points, not necessarily field goal percentage, and that is they don't foul, so teams don't get in the bonus, and they don't turn it over. No turnovers today so far, only one for Indiana.
And Indiana usually kills themselves with turnovers. Here's Sheehy from deep. He knocks it down.
Indiana running the old flex, which is a baseline back screen, then a down screen on top. So back screen, down screen, back screen, down screen. They got 3 points out of it. Heck of a shot. Sheehy lifting up.
Sheehy already in double figures for the 9th time in his last 11 games. Stauskas one-on-one. Goes at Stanford Robinson. Reach-in foul called. That will go on Sheehy. Nope, check that. That will go against Stanford Robinson.
Yeah, Robinson was in pretty good position, but on the spin, he just reached in. And that's turnovers and fouls like that. They just kind of like body punches, you know. They don't get you, but they get you eventually. They don't get you right now, but they'll get you.
Yogi Ferrell back in replacing Evan Gordon. 5 team fouls against Indiana, 4 on Michigan here in the first half. Walton around a screen, pulls up, yes.
Well, great action by John Beilein. Took the ball left, came back. Walton got a bruising screen on top. Went and laid it in, or went and knocked it in.
Yogi Ferrell finds a backdoor cutter in Troy Williams.
Tell you what, that was nice. Now, Yogi Ferrell dribbled with a purpose there. Got himself into the lane. Again, never stand when you're playing basketball. Troy Williams, second time he's moved, got himself a bucket.
Hoosiers are shooting 67% here in the first half. Stauskas keeps Michigan red hot as well. Sheehy off a made basket, out of control, but foul. So he'll go to the line to shoot two as Derek Walton's called for the foul. That's his second.
Michigan just not getting back. We've seen two lobs already from Yogi Ferrell. One to Sheehy, one to Williams, and now two straight times down the floor. Michigan not getting back, Indiana taking advantage. Michigan is this, and this is where Jordan Morgan has played a big part. Michigan is a terrific communicating team. And Jordan Morgan is the leader of that. You see he's talking right now. Well, today, I think they've been sluggish in their play, and I think they've been sluggish in their communication. And quite frankly, I'm not sure which one hurts you worse. They both kill you.
Stauskas saves it to Morgan. Little swooping layup won't go. Noah Vonleh is able to clear it. Sheehy feeling it. In and out. Spike Albrecht. What an attempt to save the outlet pass that was errant from Jordan Morgan and barely grazed the sideline, says Gene Steratore.
Right at us right here. Yeah, his foot was out of bounds, and fans didn't like it. They thought he made the save.
Sheehy got caught in midair, and his pass for Robinson deflected. Laverde swoops in and scores.
Well, that was off the 1-3-1.
Robinson dumps one underneath to Sheehy with a ball fake. Again, he got caught in midair, and this will be an over and back. Back-to-back turnovers by Indiana after they played the first 15 minutes or so without a turnover.
Yeah, Indiana just got going too fast.
We're talking to Tom Crean earlier today about the wins against Iowa and Ohio State, two good teams, and what he saw. I said, look, we just got better in terms of not making those mistakes. Team that averaged 15 turnovers a game, by far the worst in the Big Ten, but they kept their mistakes down.
Well, Indiana's turnovers are many times unforced and can be described as silly, truthfully. I mean, they've thrown the ball into the third row. They've just thrown it away, but you cut down on that, Indiana, pretty athletic, pretty good basketball team, really.
There's Vonleh to go up high and take it away, or it would have been another offensive rebound for Morgan. Going right at Robinson is Robinson. See, Stanford Robinson shut down by Glenn Robinson.
Yeah, that doesn't come down as a turnover, but that's a turnover.
Albrecht spots up. And Vonleh has another rebound. Yogi Ferrell, no good. Long rebound, Troy Williams, right back up. That's off the mark. Vonleh crashes and keeps it alive for IU, but he stepped on the end line. Check that. They may have called a foul on Noah Vonleh for going over the back.
Put your hand up on Will Sheehy. Kid's playing like a senior, but John Beilein switched to a 1-3-1. His team's getting better.
All right, Chris, thanks very much. Well, this is Joe Lunardi's time of year as we take a look at what he predicts as of right now would be the 1 seeds and the 2 seeds. But Dan Dakich, a lot can still happen with conference tournaments.
Arizona lost today. Wichita State rolled. Wisconsin's a team. Kansas, not so much. Wisconsin, that's a team. They win today at Nebraska, and they run through the Big Ten tournament based on their non-conference schedule. I wouldn't be surprised to see them climbing the #1 line.
Robinson on the drive. Vonleh got a piece. It's saved. 2 on the shot clock. Levert beats the timer. He knocks it down, but it was stopped by Boborowski, the official. Boborowski stopped the game to say reset the shot clock because Indiana had possession. In blowing the whistle, he stopped play, which means Karis LeVert's shot gets waved off. So it's a fresh shot clock for Michigan, but they lose the three-pointer that LeVert made.
Yeah, Bo just came over here and said, look, we're going to wave it off, reset the clock. He blew the whistle and stopped play. I don't know if you can hear it here, but very good defense by Vonleh. Yogi Ferrell's going to go get it. Boy, that's not possession at all.
That's a bad break for Michigan because obviously Yogi Ferrell did not have complete possession of the ball. So the shot clock shouldn't have been reset, which means that the game shouldn't have been stopped.
Well, that guy there, Boborowski, he doesn't miss many. He doesn't miss many at all. He's one of the best officials there is going, so he missed that one.
LeVert for 3. The ball knows.
The ball knows.
As Dan Duckich would say, the ball knows. A lot of contact, no foul called. Sheehy off the kick from Ferrell. Feeds the post instead. And the jump stop is good for Jeremy Holloway.
And John Beilein is going nuts, and he got teed up.
Boborowski, technical foul on John Beilein.
Well, you don't see that very often, John Beilein getting upset. But he's not mad at Boborowski about the earlier call. He's mad about 2 travels that he thought, and an offensive foul that he thought happened on the defensive possession. Watch John Beilein right here. You're going to see, usually very calm, but he thinks that's a charge. You see him up. Now he's going to think there's 2 travels. Right there and right there as a step through. So now he gets a technical. We're going to have a week-long conversation on coaches acting badly because of 1 technical.
Why don't we start right now?
That's just a natural reaction. Hey, he wanted the offensive foul, number 1. And I'm a little surprised that Borowski would give him a technical for that. Borowski's being very smart here. He's staying all the way across the court so as not to engage. That's what a good official does. He doesn't go back into him. He doesn't go challenge him. He gets across the court and leaves the situation to the people that Beilein isn't hot at.
Instead, he's on our side of the court, hearing everything from all the people in the expensive seats that John Beilein would love to be saying right now.
That's all good. But great piece of officiating not to engage by Boborowski.
Jordan Morgan fouled on the lob into the lane. Well, Nick Stauskas has helped out John Beilein in the past. Back on January 26th, John Beilein went nose-to-nose with Terry Weimer as one of the officials in tonight's game, and there's Stauskas trying to keep him from getting ejected, and here's Nick Stauskas a moment ago. Once again, jumping in between John Beilein after the technical foul had been called, making sure he didn't get technical number 2, so he'll spend the rest of the afternoon with us. Yogi Ferrell for 3. Knocks it down again. 9-point lead for Indiana.
That was against the 1-3-1. The shot spots, left wing, top, right wing, top, or the baseline.
Nobody in the Big Ten has made more threes this year than Yogi Ferrell. 84 threes on the season, and 9 of them have come against Michigan. Noah Vonleh picks up his second foul. It's a 7-0 run for Indiana. And one of the greatest rivalries in sports. Headline Saturday primetime. It's Jabari Parker and Duke in the rematch with Marcus Page and UNC. Saturday primetime presented by DirecTV. North Carolina Duke at Cameron tonight at 9 on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN.
Well, we saw in the first game North Carolina Duke. I'm guessing we'll see it tonight. Marcus Page has been terrific late game. I mean, this whole streak of North Carolina, Marcus Page has been a second half absolute terror.
Horford in for Morgan. Sheehy on Stauskas. Leans in. Stauskas got a piece. Sheehy got it back. Shot clock not reset. Down to 2. They don't realize it. Yogi Ferrell does. Throws one up. And that hit the backboard first. Numbers for the Wolverines. Robinson stripped away and hit the shot clock. It's out of bounds. No foul called. It's simply out off Indiana. And that allows the Chrysler faithful to let the officials hear a little more.
Pretty good call.
Or non-call, as the case may be.
Right? We are the only ones in this building that just said that, by the way.
Stauskas with the left hand off the glass.
Goes right, goes left, finish either hand. It's terrific.
Timeout called by Tom Crean. He's got the use it or lose it timeout. So he'll spend it here. Bob Wischusen, Dan Dockett, Sharon Chrysler. I'm just impressed that you busted out the Tuesday suit for our Saturday appearance. I've noticed you have your Mike Tirico wardrobe and you've got your me wardrobe. You look nice today.
Thank you very much. I like my tie. But
you mentioned Nick Stauskas. There was a time this season, and you called it earlier this year, where teams seem to find a way to defend him. Littler guys on him, shut him down. He's figured it out the other way?
What happened was, and Indiana did it with Yogi Ferrell, smaller guys were able to get underneath Stauskas and make it difficult. And what Stauskas did, and you just saw it on the drive, he went lower with his dribble to get to the rim. He was easy. He had more problems with little than he did length. So he adjusted, and it hasn't been a problem. Michigan State tried it with Appling, and he just unloaded on him with 25. And ever since that, about 2 weeks ago, it has not been an issue. Again, he made the adjustment. He got lower with his dribble, and that way little guys couldn't get up under him and bother him.
Gordon on the baseline, finishing, plus the foul is Devin Davis.
That was terrific. Again, Indiana not standing on penetration. You're going to see Devin Davis come into your screen right here because he doesn't stand. And then when you jump, you make your best jump. You don't fall. You don't broad jump. You high jump. And when you do that, you can play through contact. And that's exactly what this kid did. Devin Davis is going to be a terrific basketball player. He's not a shooter, doesn't really have a position, but he can do that. And he can do that kind of thing on both ends.
10 seconds left in the half. Levert hangs, can't hit, the tip follow goes. Down to 2 seconds to go in the half. Stanford Robinson does not beat the halftime buzzer. But a great first half nonetheless for Indiana. They started off 9 for their first 9, and Dan, they've got a 6-point lead at the break.
A great offense by Indiana because they haven't settled, they've driven, and when they've driven, people have made themselves available when they've drawn contact or when they've drawn people.
6-point lead at the break for the Hoosiers. Time for the Mazda halftime report. Chris Cotter. ESPN college basketball back here in Ann Arbor. 42-36, Indiana has the lead. The second highest first half point total allowed by Michigan this year. The Hoosiers put up 42 in the first half. And the majority of their damage done in the paint. 24 points in the paint, 6 at the free throw line as well. Bob Wischusen and Dan Dockich. We were just talking before we came back about how impressed you were with Indiana's offensive execution, because there have been times this year where you've seen the best and worst from them offensively.
Well, we had the game against Purdue where the ball was flying and nobody moved. In this game, you saw the numbers inside the paint. That's not throw it on the block. That's work the ball, and then drive the ball and find the next guy. That's terrific offense. That's the way you beat Michigan. You can't beat Michigan standing around and trying to just drive it. You got to move the defense and then go, and Indiana's been very good.
We saw Noah Vonleh. He starts the second half on the bench, had a field goal and 5 rebounds in the first half in 9 minutes. He had been out the last 2 games with foot inflammation, and going right into the paint and scoring without Vonleh, the shot blocker, in there, is Nick Stauskas.
Stauskas had Farrell on him. He set a screen, received a screen, and he's the best in America, in my opinion, at reading the defense. He will look at the man and then react accordingly.
Morgan shuts down Stanford Robinson. Glenn Robinson, a little Euro step crossover, and he'll go to the line. Foul on Sheehy.
No, Bob. Stauskas, it's such a lost art. People talk about different lost arts. The mid-range jumper, it's not a lost art. Kids shoot mid-range jumpers all the time. But what he does, moving without the ball, and then when you come off a screen, you don't look for the ball. You look at the man and read the screen accordingly. And he does it better than anybody, Stauskas. He curled the last time, got himself a layup.
Tim Hardaway leaves, Trey Burke leaves, and you lose Mitch McGarry.
Okay.
But would you have ever thought that A, this team would accomplish what they've accomplished this year, but that B, Nick Stauskas would make this kind of a leap?
I knew Stauskas had worked really hard this summer.
Yep.
And we all saw last year that he was far more than just a shooter.
Looked like Sheehy passed on a possible layup. Instead, Devin Davis gets the layup.
Devin Davis, again, takes his time, patient around the basket, athletic enough to get it up and over people. He's terrific.
Stauskas inside. Now he's in the post and he scores.
Well, that's too easy. You have to fight him before he gets to that spot. He's the player of the year in the Big Ten. You got to front him. You got to fight him. You can't let him just go get it.
Yogi Ferrell, nice pass to Troy Williams.
How many times are we going to see Troy Williams play off of Yogi Ferrell? Really smart. Yogi Ferrell got into the lane. That's his 5th assist. And Troy Williams been the beneficiary of 3 of them because he's moved, not stood. Very nice.
LeVert, that won't go. The back tap ends up with Yogi Ferrell. Shovels it ahead to Williams. He throws it down again and then stares at Stauskas.
Troy Williams ought to stare at nobody. He ought to just get back down, but that was a heck of a pass by Yogi Ferrell. Just flipping it underhand. That's knowing where you're going with the ball before you get the ball.
Morgan with the left hand. Crowd wanting a possible call on Tom Crean, who jumped out and actually seemed to make contact with Troy Williams, shoving him in the right direction. And Williams is fouled by Jordan Morgan on the drive. That's the second on Morgan.
This is so good. All right, shot's going to go up. Little flip right there. Ahead. And you get Troy Williams out in the open court, he's going to dunk over everybody.
Sheehy for 3. That hit the backboard first. Stauskas, a little stutter step dribble and a finger roll finish. A 2-point game. Yogi Ferrell out of a double team. Turns it over. Traveling call on both sides of the floor by two different officials. Stauskas has 6 this half.
Let's just watch and enjoy right here. Hey, he gave Stanford Robinson the business. And then the little flip. You know what that's a function of? Being out in your front yard and just having a ball in your hand. And an imagination. That's all that is. Can't teach that.
He set the back screen for Irvin, who scores, or rather for Robinson, who scores. Stauskas is doing it all. Evan Gordon, he'll be called for traveling. Tom Crean wants to slow things down. Will step aside for just a moment. Michigan with a chance to take the lead. Bob Wischusen, Dan Dockich back in Ann Arbor. We're tied at 48, and Dan takes us inside the play.
Jordan Morgan's my defensive player of the year. He does this kind of thing every single possession. Watch him. I'm not going to bore you showing them all, but here's one. Drive by Morgan, or Gordon, he's there. Whoa, there goes Morgan, and he opens up to take away the next pass, and guess what happens? Gordon travels. That's because Jordan Morgan not only came to help, but then bounced back to take away the next man. That's great defense.
Well, Dan, here's our competitive edge brought to you by Principal Financial Group. And this, the combined effort of Jordan Morgan and John Horford in the conference. They are collectively trying to make up for the fact that Mitch McGarry went down.
Basically 11 points, 10 rebounds. It's pretty good from your center position. And what happened when Gary went down, they don't have to look over their shoulder anymore. Their roles got defined. Much more comfortable, both of them.
Foul called on Evan Gordon. And today, the combined total between Horford and Morgan already 12 points and 11 rebounds. So they're already up to what their normal per-game averages are.
And it started early with Morgan going to the offensive glass with the first 6 points for Michigan. I'll tell you something. Indiana can beat everybody in this league. And as we move towards the Big Ten tournament, playing, I was going to say Conseco, in Banker's Life, a real chance.
Robinson hits, and Michigan with their first lead since it was 9-7. Michigan had the lead for 9 total seconds in the game before right now. Troy Williams, backdoor to Sheehy, and we're tied again.
Boy, nice defense on Troy Williams, but Sheehy again. The left baseline, the back cut, it's automatic for Indiana. Terrific. It's been Troy Williams back cutting, but now Sheehy.
Stauskas for 3. Fouls. Troy Williams can't believe the call, but Stauskas will shoot 3 when we come back.
Well, this really good defense on Troy Williams, but you see, Sheehy doesn't stand. LeVert turns his head, and Sheehy's dunking. Great movement by Tom Sheehy.
Ruda and Paul Stauskas are watching their son Nick put on a show, and let's see how the Stauskas family is able to do it together. Brought to you by Radio Shack. Obviously, Nick Stauskas can't do any of this without the help of mom and dad.
Well, Paul was a lead singer in a rock band, or a hard and heavy metal band called Axe Victim. His mother is a classical pianist. This dude can just play. And I mean really play. The Big Ten Player of the Year, in my opinion. The dad is going to send me some video of him doing whatever it is that you do with the bass. And I mean wailing a sax and a bass. And Axe Victim, heavy metal. His mom can do a little Chopin. He can do a little Def Leppard.
Do they combine forces at times? Because that would be fun.
That's what I see.
Nick Stauskas and Gary Harris, both from the Big Ten earlier today. The Wooden Award was whittled down to the 15 finalists. They both made the top 15 list. Now Stauskas knocks down the front 2 of the 3. That's our Wendy's Wooden Watch. And boy, both of these players have had terrific years.
Yeah, really good. You know, Gary Harris, one of those guys, when he's open, it's just automatic. And he's like Stauskas. He can drive at Harris, he can shoot open shots, and he's really good coming off Tom Izzo's screens. And I say it all the time, Tom Izzo's team, or Tom Izzo is as good as any at getting the shooters that he has really good looks.
Sheehy with the left hand, charge. Derek Walton was able to draw the foul.
Not a bad play by Will Sheehy in the middle of the zone. Just got going a little too fast. And Walton, watch him. He's just going to hang in here. Takes a lot of contact from Noah Vonleh. Stays upright, takes a charge. That's tough on Derek Walton.
Indiana had only 1 turnover through the first 15 minutes. Now they're up to 6 turnovers, and they've committed 3 this half. Robinson with the left hand.
Well, how nice was that? He recognized having Vonleh, went to his left, cupped it against his body.
Yogi Ferrell just a little too strong. The tip follow is good, but they'll say basket interference.
Any part of the ball on the rim, that's a good call.
And that ball's coming off, so they did need to tip it to get it back in there, but needed to wait just a split second longer, so they cleared the cylinder.
I've never in my playing career was at that point, but I got to believe it's really hard to do. Really hard to do.
Stauskas tried to slip a pass through traffic to Morgan, knocked out of bounds, 13 to shoot. It'll stay with the Wolverines.
Coaches, watch how much pressure, that are out there watching this game, watch how much pressure Michigan puts on the defense with their spacing, their ball screening, their driving, and their cutting, all within one possession.
John Beilein wants his team to get moving. He lets them know the shot clock is winding down. Levert will have to do it by himself. And that's an air ball, so that's a shot clock violation.
Pretty good move by Tom Crean. He got his team into a little 2-3 zone there. Stifled Michigan. Only John Beilein really knew that there was a shot clock winding down. John Beilein did the best job that I've ever seen when he took over West Virginia, and in 3 years got him to the Elite Eight. West Virginia was a complete train wreck from inside out.
Stanford Robinson, too strong. Another rebound for Jordan Morgan. Well, you can make that same argument about when he came to Michigan and the job he's done here as Robinson leans in, too strong. The tip follow won't go for Jordan Morgan. And they'll call Morgan for a foul. It's not to the extent of West Virginia.
Yeah, it wasn't the same, but I know what you're saying. He has taken this to a level beyond what it had been taken to before. And, you know, 1986 with Roy Tarpley and Richard Relaford, Gary Grant and the rest won a Big Ten title. But, you know, there have been a lot of great players at Michigan, including an '89 national champion that never even scared a Big Ten title. So the job he's done is just absolutely remarkable.
Michigan is about to go to the NCAA tournament for the 5th consecutive year. They hadn't been to the NCAA tournament since 1998, before John Beilein got here.
Well, it just shows, and we've seen it in college basketball both ways. It shows what making the right hire can do. You know, Michigan looking for a coach, there was no question he should have been the coach. I'll be frank with you. When Indiana was looking for a coach after Mike Davis, there was no question he should have been the coach in Indiana. But somehow the powers to be hired Calvin Sampson, who was on probation, if you can believe that. The wrong hire sets you back a ton. The right hire gets you going immediately.
Spike Albrecht rejected by Howard. 15 to shoot for Michigan. Sheehy will check back in. The Wolverines are every bit as hot this half as Indiana started the last half. They're shooting 70% since halftime, and Stauskas can't keep it going. Long rebound. Albrecht rolls off Sheehy, down to the deck, ripped away by Vonleh, and here comes Stanford Robinson. Crosses over, finishes, plus the foul.
There's a little something going between Robinson and Sheehy. Robinson and Stauskas. See right here, Spike Albrecht digging but can't quite get to it. And then this is where Stanford Robinson really shines, taking the ball in traffic and finishing. He and Stauskas have a little something going. It started 2 possessions ago right in front of us.
Stauskas with his first foul. He'll now go to the bench as we're coming up on the under 12 timeout. Again, Stanford Robinson only a 55% free throw shooter. He completes the 3-point play. It's a 2-point game. LeVert, nice shake and bake dribble, but Vonleh is there to get the block. That's his second.
That was great defense by Vonleh. He could have slowed down. He stayed with it.
Stanford Robinson crosses over. No good. He ends up tumbling out of bounds.
I don't know what Indiana's hurry is. You know, first half.
Irvin just misses. Vonleh has it knocked away. Horford rips it. Blocked from behind by Vonleh. But he's called for the foul. John Horford shoots free throws when we come back. This is an intense basketball game. Back in Ann Arbor, where a moment ago we were treated to basically Michigan's version of every bad wedding dance floor you've ever been a part of.
I loved it.
Or what Dan Dockett referred to as the best thing he's seen all year.
That was awesome. The ushers out here dancing. Looked like you, me, and our producer Bart Fox and our director Scott Johnson at the club.
There's Celebrity Row here in Ann Arbor as Charles Woodson comes back home, the 1997 Heisman Trophy winner and one of the great college football players, and has gone on to be one of the great NFL players you'll ever see.
I'll tell you this, Michigan takes care of its own. He's got the best seat in the house, and well deserved. Pretty good seat.
If Nick Stauskas can't get there to control John Beilein in case he gets close to picking up a second technical, Charles Woodson's in perfect position. That foul, by the way, on Vonleh before we went to break was his third. So he's back on the bench for Indiana. And back in the game is Jordan Morgan.
You know, Horford is a great story. You know, he was hurt, had a redshirt year. After every game, without fail, he's into practice. Jim works out for an hour after every game. Picks out something that he needs to do better. Picks out something he didn't do well in the game.
Robinson runs into traffic, and Morgan helped knock it away. Spike Albrecht drives the baseline. Might have had a reverse, but brings it back out. Stauskas underneath to Morgan.
They don't care. They just don't care, Michigan, who scores. They don't. And everybody, you know, they try to get everybody to defend.
Blocking foul called on Albrecht. That's his second. And the NBA's MVP frontrunners headline our ABC Sunday Showcase tomorrow at 1. LeBron and the Heat on the road to take on the Bulls. And then at 3:30, it's Kevin Durant and the Thunder in LA to meet the Lakers. ABC's NBA Sunday Showcase starts tomorrow at 12:30. NBA Countdown presented by Speed Stick Gear.
How about the Lakers giving up 400 points in 3 games? That's all-time Laker record. Giving up 400. Not scoring.
That's not the first time that's happened to Mike D'Antoni, though. Albrecht gets the steal. Zach Irvin with the deflection.
For Indiana, you just don't have to go so fast. Terrific offense in the first half. Moving people, moving the ball, driving, putting pressure on the defense. Now it's like everybody's got to get theirs or they're trying to hit a home run.
3 turnovers the first half for IU. They already have 7 in the second half.
Just because they're putting the ball in bad spots.
Shot clock under 10. Scramble for it. A tie-up. Jeremy Hollowell attacked Jordan Morgan, and the Hoosiers have the arrow. Irvin out, Robinson and Walton back in. Here comes Evan Gordon. He'll replace Stanford Robinson.
Well, Evan Gordon was a key against Iowa. The second half, his defense was terrific. And when he plays good defense, it usually leads to him driving and getting some pretty good offense. So I would look for him to take a little swing on Stauskas, try to get going defensively. Good cut.
Sheehy bought himself some time after Jeremy Hollowell found him under the basket.
Well, that was really good by Sheehy and well by Hollowell. Looking opposite, Sheehy snuck in behind the defense and then took his time.
Stauskas whips one to the corner, sets up Robinson. Offensive rebound for Morgan, ripped away, but it's out of bounds off Evan Gordon.
You know, this is a 4-point game. Michigan's had a couple opportunities to bust this open. And usually around this time, when you don't take advantage of those opportunities, that comes back to get you later in the game. Indiana's right here, right where they need to be in this ballgame.
The second half turnovers hurt the Hoosiers badly. But that's been a theme for them all year. LeVert had that shot about 3/4 of the way down. Yogi Ferrell pulls up, hits a three. That's a big shot for Indiana, and it's a 1-point game.
That's a great shot for Indiana. That's not a bad shot, even though it's quick. Yogi Ferrell is terrific, right wing or left wing, pulling up in transition. But he's not so good when he goes in too deep. Great decision by Ferrell. I'm telling you, they had a chance, Michigan did, to get this really going their way. And when you don't,
Robinson blocked, and it's out of bounds off Robinson. Devin Davis made the play defensively.
well, Devin Davis is as big as Robinson, as long as Robinson, as athletic. He just keeps his feet moving, gets his hand on the ball, and that is a terrific call by Bo Borowski.
So a chance for Indiana to take the lead back.
Ball needs to move, needs to get reversed, and then you go on your drive.
Yogi Ferrell looked for a cutter in Davis, but LeVert gets the steal. Walton bullets one underneath to Morgan, and the reverse is good, plus the foul.
How sweet this is. Watch a little no-look here by Morgan. A little no-look. Nobody talks between Hollowell and Davis, so they both leave him. Nobody's got anybody, and Derek Walton takes advantage of it. And again, the senior playing like a senior on his final home game, taking his time, using the bucket, and finishing. This is a clinic he's putting on today on how to finish around the rim in traffic. For Indiana, all you got to do is get the ball going back and forth. Easier said than done a little bit, but something's going to open on the baseline or something's going to open in a gap to drive it.
LeVert gets his hand in the passing lane again and scores. Another Indiana turnover cost them points. And Tom Crean, with his team going 100 miles an hour in the other direction again, calls a timeout. Jordan Morgan on senior day has tied his season high with 15.
And he's the only senior out here. You see the emotion. Jordan Morgan, in my opinion, been the best leader in this league this year. And not only is he leading, but he's playing great. Little left-handed flip shot there. How about that action? And just finding yourself in the right position, and when your teammates will give up the ball, good things will happen for you. But that kid has meant so much to this program. In particular this year, he has taken a young team, showed it how to work, showed it how to act off the court, conducted himself with nothing but class. If he doesn't go play basketball somewhere, you own a company, hire that guy.
A major collision. And a foul call.
The hands of Michigan are unbelievable in this 1-3-1.
Troy Williams is hurt. We'll check on him when we come back.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Radio Shack. See what's possible when we do things together.
Welcome back. It's a 6-point lead for Michigan, and Troy Williams at the very least has a fat lip as he was called for the charge. Morgan stepped up and took the charge, and on the way down, right there on the left shoulder of Derek Walton. And there was blood in the mouth of Troy Williams. The trainers came out, took a look. The doctor took a look on the sideline as well. And he's not going back to the dressing room, so he'll be able to stay on the bench. We'll see if he can get back in the game. This feels like a great rivalry game today, but one of the greatest rivalries in sports headlines Saturday prime time. It is the rematch. What more do you need to say? But North Carolina Duke. Saturday prime time presented by DirecTV tonight at 9 on ESPN. Also live on Watch ESPN. We will be at Cameron. Second half turnovers for the Hoosiers. The first 9 have resulted in 13 Michigan points. We'll see what happens here after Troy Williams turned it over a moment ago. Stauskas falling to the ground, fouled by Yogi Ferrell.
Yogi Ferrell fouled Stauskas, but Yogi Ferrell did a heck of a job guarding Stauskas throughout this. I mean, he kept moving, and Stauskas just put so much pressure. This ends up being a foul, but Stauskas started on the left, ran off 2 screens to the right, circled back to the left, curled, and Ferrell did a good job. But as I said, Stauskas he's learned to get lower, Bob, and it's taken away the advantage that guys like Ferrell have had against him. Ax Victor. That's the name of
the band?
The band. The used to be band.
I think you should get that tattooed on your right arm.
A Canadian rock star.
Jordan Morgan fighting for the loose ball and comes away with it again. What a senior day Jordan Morgan has had. A double-double. Karis LeVert, hand check by Stanford Robinson. Indiana's over the limit, team foul number 9, so it's a 1-and-1.
They just put pressure on him. You know, whether it's LeVert or whether it's Walton or Stauskas or Robinson, they just sweep, get low, drive, and if you're too close, you're going to foul.
Well, they're thanking Jordan Morgan, but Nick Stauskas and Glenn Robinson, now they're both only sophomores, but might this be their last home game as well?
I would say yes.
For both?
Yeah, I would say that both are going to play their last home game right now. I just think both of them are going to enter the NBA draft, and I wouldn't be surprised if McGarry did as well.
Even off the injured year?
Yeah, I think so. I just think that Mitch McGarry, you know, he's 21 right now, and the NBA, good, bad, happy, or sad, you know, wants young players, and I think all 3 will go.
Hollowell puts his shoulder down, and it looks as if they'll wave off the basket and call the foul on Spike Albrecht. And Gene Steratore is sending a very clear warning over to John Beilein, knowing he already has a technical foul, telling him to get off the court.
Gene Steratore can warn Beilein all he wants, but Gene Steratore made an awful call right here. Now you're going to say, well, he's moving. No, he's squared up. That's 3 times that Spike Albrecht has been knocked down hard, and as you mentioned, Bob, Steratore is absolutely having none of it. He very pointedly, and rightfully so, he's protecting Beilein, told Beilein to sit down.
Well, he already has a technical, so the next one, and he's gone. Yogi Ferrell stepped on the end line. Another IU turnover. Let's take a look. This is the reaction of John Beilein to the call on Spike Albrecht, and that actually is after the warning. He's having a little laugh, but he was a lot angrier when the call was originally made, and Gene Steratore told him from the opposite end of the court to get back in the coach's box. Horford over Farrell.
That was bad play by Horford. Horford just needed to turn and go to the rim. He was too worried about Farrell getting under him and taking the charge. He faded away. Horford just needed a little patience right there.
Indiana had 42 points in the first half, and they're only at 58 now. How did they get their offense back?
Pass the ball. Pass the ball and move people and move the ball. Instead, Yogi Ferrell's driven it into very tough spots. So has Robinson.
And now the shot clock winding down again. Vonleh in the posts. Fouled with one on the timer.
I mean, that had some semblance of non-chaos. Indiana has played chaotic in half-court offense. It's like a 7th grade game. Get the ball, put your head down, and dribble. At that time, they just took their time, spread out the defense, and threw it to the best freshman in the Big Ten. Basketball is not that difficult. But it is if you put your head down, dribble it 17 times. When you're 5'0" and try to get in among big guys, it becomes algebra.
Vonleh's free throws ends what was an 8-0 Michigan run. And Indiana hanging right in, down by 7, under 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, I don't know who had it. Okay, let's say that Michigan has better talent than Indiana, okay? Certainly more skill. But every possession, they put pressure.
LeVert cleanly beating Stanford Robinson. Robinson out of control, but he draws a foul. He goes down hard.
Pressure. Under pressure. Do. They do it. They just put you under pressure. Every single possession you have to drive. You have to guard a drive, guard some cuts, and then you got to do it all again. They never, or let me put it this way, they rarely put the ball in a bad spot.
Karis LeVert was called for that foul. Team foul number 7 against Michigan. So both teams are over the limit. We'll shoot free throws the rest of the way.
David Bowie. Queen and David Bowie. Not fish, but it's pretty good.
You're a fountain of knowledge, but I'm not sure if you're going to get all the way down to the guys I like. We'll see. 5.5 minutes to go. 7-point game. Stauskas able to beat Yogi Ferrell off the dribble as Ferrell fell. And Sheehy came over and gave help, but fouled Stauskas.
See how low he got there? Now, Yogi Ferrell fell down, but Stauskas has learned throughout the course of this season that quicker guys get back to you faster. So he didn't just coast in there. He got low knowing Ferrell was going to come, took an extra dribble, drew contact. Great adjustment by not only Stauskas, but his coaches as well.
That foul on Sheehy was his 4th. Now, you said that you think that Stauskas will probably move on after this season. Nothing's been announced.
Sure.
Do you think it's the right move? Do you think he's ready?
I think he's as ready as he'll ever be, and I don't want him to leave. You know, I love Big Ten basketball, and he's great. But what he's going to do, I'm sure, is announce, I would guess, announce for the NBA, let the advisory committee tell him where he's going to be drafted and make a decision based on that. That would only make sense to me. That's just, you know, that would just be common sense to do. Now, would he ultimately stay, you know, in the draft or go, you know, I guess it would depend.
Noah Vonleh turns it over. Karis LeVert with another steal. Albrecht thought about it. The crowd wanted him to shoot it, but he backs it out. Spike now fouled by Devin Davis. So he'll go to the line. That's the 3rd on Davis.
You know what Spike Albrecht does really well? He keeps his dribble alive as well as anybody. Rarely do you see him pick up the ball and be stuck. And he's really smart. Bob, this amazed me. I'm going to give you some numbers here. Spike Albrecht and Derek Walton, a sophomore and a freshman. 149 assists to 60 turnovers. A freshman and a sophomore.
Spike Albrecht is now up to 70 assists against 13 turnovers in the Big Ten.
People ask me why Albrecht will be in the game at times for Michigan. You know, he only plays about 15 minutes a game, but he plays at the end, and the reason is simply trust.
Another throwdown by Troy Williams. Good to see him back in the game.
I'll tell you what, you give Troy Williams some room. Troy Williams develops a jump shot. That's a pro.
Stauskas, another little head fake. Knocked out of bounds, 8 to shoot, as Indiana was able to recover.
Let's talk about how you guard that, all right? You spend a week in practice saying just lock in a stance. And you make guys stay in a stance for 35 seconds. Just because when Stauskas raises up and gives you a little up and up, you know, a little hesitation, Bob, if you raise up, you're over. It's done.
Walton comes up short. Vonleh the rebound. And Indiana mount a charge in the last 4 minutes. Yogi Ferrell will try to get it started with a three.
How big was that? That's where he can knock him in. That is a good shot for Indiana. Right wing, left wing, that's a good shot. It's better to shoot that than it is to over-penetrate.
Morgan to Stauskas. Drives, fades away. Vonleh tipped it. And here comes Stanford Robinson. Throws one up, just rolls off the rim, but he'll shoot free throws when we come back. And he can cut the lead down to 4. It is the last home game for Jordan Morgan. It might be for Nick Stauskas and Glenn Robinson as well.
Chris Cotter back in Bristol. Duke, North Carolina warming up at Cameron Indoor. They're going to tip up in about an hour and 5 minutes. We've got game day coming up at the conclusion of our game. Reese, Jay Will, Jay Billis, Digger on hand. All getting set for the big battle on Tobacco Road coming up at the top of the hour. Guys?
All right, Chris, thanks. Bob Wischusen and Dan Dockage. We still have quite a battle here in Ann Arbor. 3.5 minutes to go, and Michigan on top by 6, but free throws coming now for Indiana. You know, Dan, it's funny. We always look at offense and maybe judge it based on shooting percentages. Indiana's shooting 69% from the field in the second half, and yet there have been times in the second half where they've been bad offensively.
They have. 3 turnovers at half, 12 in this second half. So that negates, and that's been a problem for Indiana all year. Just turning the ball over instead of just trusting what Tom Crean has set up and running it and doing it again and again and again.
Stanford Robinson's now 7 of 7 at the line.
I'm sorry, Bob. They've had the answer, whether it's a zone, whether it's man-to-man. They've done fine. They just keep throwing it to the other team.
Take care of the ball, and who knows what might happen in the last 3.5 minutes as Indiana is back within 4.
Absolutely. And Yogi Ferrell, watch the matchup, Ferrell and Stauskas.
Much better job by Stanford Robinson that time on Levert. The lob, unable to finish was Robinson. And in the corner, tracking it down is Devin Davis.
Just getting a little tight last 3 shots. 2 of them were bad. Robinson just missed a layup there. When Michigan gets tight offensively, watch for Spike Albrecht to make a play for somebody else. I think the ball here ought to go to Vonleh.
Vonleh for 3. In and out. Offensive rebound, Devin Davis right back up. And that rattles home. A 1-possession game with 2.5 minutes to go.
Well, I really like Devin Davis. He went into the middle of Michigan's bigs and just dominated them right there.
So John Beilein calls a timeout.
This is a kid who rebounds at the top of his jump. Watch how high he is right there. And then when you're playing and you're not thinking, you do things like that, Bob. I mean, he's been a kid who's kind of trying to figure it out all year. But you can see there, when you're not thinking and you're just playing, he can do some things.
What does this tell you about Indiana? With the season they've had, the roller coaster they've been on, they lose the other night in an unlosable game, really, for their tournament hopes at home against Nebraska. And now to come back time and time again today.
They can beat anybody. They can. I mean, they've beaten Wisconsin, they've beaten Iowa, they've beaten Michigan. They can beat anybody, but they can lose to anybody too, as we've seen losing at home Northwestern. And it all comes down to, do they trust what their coaches have set up, particularly offensively? See the RPI right here. You know, that's a function. You see a schedule strength of 60. Well, the problem is the schedule strength in the non-conference is 215. I'm telling you, Indiana can play with anybody in this league, and you go into Bankers Life, which is basically a home game. There'll be a threat in that tournament.
Devin Davis called for a foul. 10 team fouls on Indiana, so it's the automatic double bonus for Robinson.
I hate that call. That is such a good play out of a timeout by John Beilein. He put a shooter in the right-hand corner, got Robinson the ball top of the key, drive it right, and just a little touch. That bails Michigan out. I don't like calls that bail you out just because you're playing good defense and you happen to touch. Michigan has been tight shooting the ball. And now you're putting a guy on the line who's 73%, bails him out.
And he makes both.
I didn't think there was enough there to qualify.
Derek Walton back in, replacing Albrecht. And again, College Game Day, presented by State Farm, precedes Duke, Carolina. And that comes up as soon as we're done here at Michigan. Sheehy up off the bench, ready to come in as well. He has 4 fouls, so Tom Crean has sat him for a bit. Vonleh kicks one to Yogi out of the post.
When they run that same action, look for Yogi to take a 3 at the top of the key.
There he is. Farrell for 3. No good. The follow inside by Troy Williams.
Again, just move the ball around. You move the ball around. Farrell got the shot that he's very good at shooting, and it took the defense out of its normal rotations and created an offensive rebound opportunity. Got to go into Morgan here.
Stauskas, his pass deflected. Vonleh has it. Here comes Stanford Robinson. Got caught in midair. Somehow, I think off the pass, decided to shoot it. Scores. And we're tied with under 90 seconds to go.
What a great play by Robinson. LeVert made a good one as well. But Robinson just too good with his hands.
Stauskas off to Robinson. Yes. Indiana down to 1 timeout. Obviously, they don't need a 3. A little over a minute to go. Where do they go from here?
Well, Indiana's got to look to Yogi Ferrell, but really, take whatever the defense is going to give you. Move the ball. Like, you're going to see Robinson's 3 here. Same action they got a foul on before. The right side is open. Shooter in the corner. Draw and dish, but that was after some action. And you'll see Charles Woodson here. But, okay, for Indiana, minute 3 to go. A lot of time. Don't force anything. You get something quick for Yogi Ferrell, either for a 3 or a drive, same type of action, fine. But don't force anything. Move people, move the ball. A lane will open and go to the rim.
Michigan has the possession arrow. No fouls to give for either team. And Indiana is down to 1 timeout remaining.
If you need a 3, as good a 3 as Indiana has is Will Sheehy in either corner. He was out here early working like crazy on his 3-point shot from the corner. He's terrific. And against a 1-3-1, that's going to be there.
Yogi Ferrell has made 11 threes between the 2 games these 2 teams have played. There's a 3 from Stanford Robinson. No good. I'm not sure if that's the player that they wanted to shoot from downtown. He's only 21% from 3.
Same thing I've been saying. Trust what the coaches give you. And it's not Stan Robinson shooting the 3 off 2 passes.
Yogi Ferrell fouls out near midcourt, and Will Sheehy comes up And says to Yogi Ferrell, I'm not sure we needed that foul that quickly. Still a one-possession game with about a 6-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock, and instead it will be Walton at the free throw line. Automatic 2. His first trip today. And Michigan as a team has been great at the line. They're now 21 of 24.
Bob, going back to that other offensive possession when Robinson took that shot, Indiana was trying to get the ball to Ferrell. They put him in the middle against the 1-3-1, letting him create. They couldn't get it. Well, Robinson's a better creator in the middle of the zone, and Ferrell's a better shooter. You got to put Ferrell on the outside of the zone.
And LeVert fouls Stanford Robinson. That's not what John Beilein wanted or needed. In a 5-point game. Now Robinson, who's been perfect at the line himself today, will shoot a 1-and-1. That's team foul number 9.
This kid's going to be good, Stan Robinson. You know, future's pretty good. If Troy Williams, Stan Robinson getting the gym, Yogi Ferrell back.
Devin Davis, also a freshman. 8 for 8 for a 55% free throw shooter.
Some guys like bright lights, some guys don't.
If he makes, with a 4-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock, 1-possession game, do you foul?
Yeah, I think so. You try to go for a steal, maybe trap at half court, but I think absolutely you foul.
Spike Albrecht gets it across, and the clock winding down. No foul given yet.
They're yelling at him to foul. Nobody will do it.
Now they foul as Stanford Robinson will put Albrecht at the line.
Tom Crean and Steve McLean were almost out to the M in Michigan, banging on their arms. Foul somebody.
Michigan's made 10 in a row at the line. Spike Albrecht shoots 74%. And that's the big one. It's a 2-possession game. Albrecht does his job. Derek Walton comes back in. 21 seconds to go. Yogi Ferrell tries a 3. Off the mark. Stanford Robinson has the loose ball. Shovels it to Ferrell. 10 seconds to go. Indiana's got to get a shot up. Vonleh for 3. Good. Tom Crean calls their last timeout. It's a 2-point game. 4.2 seconds to go.
How about Noah Vonleh? Just runs out to the 3-point line, and as calm as can possibly be, knocks it in. Now, if you're Michigan, you've got to find Stauskas. You've got to make sure that you use a big guy. Whoever you deem a big guy. It can be Robinson, it can be Horford, it can be Morgan, whoever. And you let your 2 guards work off that big guy. Michigan has had problems late in games, inbounding occasionally when they've just left their 2 guards up to get open. Big guy up, and I'm guessing the big guy will be Robinson.
That sign said not in our house. Well, guess what? Last year in Michigan's house, the late score by Zeller, and this ball hanging on the rim was the difference between an outright and shared Big Ten title. And Indiana left as the Big Ten champions. Mr. Oladipo in the middle of that celebration for the Hoosiers. These teams have played so many good games over the years.
Oh, there's no question. Going back to 1976 national championship game. I mean, Indiana, Michigan were the 2 best teams. And it's 1976, Indiana goes undefeated. But at home, Indiana had to have Jim Cruz tip one up and Ken Benson tip it in to send it to overtime. And then they played in the national championship game, and then on between the Fab Five and Calvert Cheney and that crew. Jay Edwards breaking the 1989 Michigan National Championships team's heart not once but twice. And then last year you saw, the ball hanging on the rim. This is a great rivalry in this league.
Earlier today, a terrific game played between Oklahoma State and Iowa State. Almost the exact same scenario. About 4 seconds to go. Iowa State was down by 2. Oklahoma State missed a free throw. It was a 3-point game, and Iowa State hit the quick push up the court buzzer beater 3 and forced overtime. That's what Indiana has to hope for here.
Yeah, look, Glenn Robinson's going to be the guy probably open off of this as Stauskas and LeVert kind of work off each other. One of the two, probably Robinson's going to slip back to the ball.
Can Albrecht get it in? Has to call timeout.
Too jammed up there. Way too jammed up. You got 3 guys in about a 10-foot space. You got to spread out the floor and give your cutters some room. I think that's what Jeff Meyer, assistant coach, was just telling John Beilein with his hand. We got to get some space here. Look how jammed up all these guys are. Everybody's in the same spot. This is an easy switch. Spike did the smart thing, Albrecht. He didn't leave it for interpretation.
Well, they've got two more timeouts even still remaining after that one was called. So lots of room for error for Michigan. And if they can get it in, they're the best free throw shooting team in the league as a team that shoots 76%. That would be good if that was the best free throw shooter on your individual roster.
Well, you can't lock guys in a gym all night, so they shoot 100 free throws. Make 76.
Stauskas shoots 81%. Glenn Robinson is the worst of the group at 73%, which is still pretty good.
It's the same setup. I got to believe Stauskas is going to go to the right-hand corner. Robinson left and try to get it in.
Vonleh guarding the ball. Spike Albrecht gets it into Stauskas in the corner, and about a half second comes off the clock. And the 7th best free throw shooter in the Big Ten will go to the line at the other end.
I saw Ed Cooley of Providence tell the refs before, we're not going to foul in this situation. We're trying to get a jump ball. Now the problem would be it was Michigan's ball. But pretty smart move by Cooley, and they did. They reached in, the refs listened. They didn't call the automatic foul, but that one was a clear wraparound.
Michigan has made 12 in a row. This would all but seal it. A pair for Stauskas, and he knows he has all but won the game.
Reason number 90 why Stauskas is the player of the year in the Big Ten. Just clinched another one.
Yogi Ferrell leans in. And it's a 4-point win for Michigan as they pad their resume. For the first time ever, seeded #1 in the Big Ten tournament. And it's hard to argue that there's a more deserving team out there of what they've earned this year than Michigan.
Absolutely. 5 in a row. Michigan playing terrific basketball down the stretch. Contributions from absolutely everywhere. A team that, in true John Beilein fashion, is just getting better and better and better.
The 5th time this season that Michigan comes from double figures down to win. And they improved to 23-7 on the year and finished the Big Ten at 15-3 overall. Congrats on a deserved outright championship. It's time for College Game Day presented by State Farm, then Duke and Carolina. Let's head down to Durham.